Good morning, this is Stephen Ramsden, Director of the Charlie Bates Solar Astronomy Project. Today we're going to talk about this awesome new scope from Coronado, the SolarMax 3. Everybody knows the Coronado SolarMax set the industry standard 10-15 years ago. Everybody wanted a double stack Coronado, including me, and I have them. This is the SolarMax 3, where they've come out and replaced the helical focuser with the 10-to-1 Crayford, which is awesome. They've got a different design for the blocking filter, no more pull-out draw tube type stuff, and the double stacked etalons on the exterior of the scope. So you can take this telescope and use it for nighttime as well, or calcium K, or a white light wedge, or any use you want with it. So we're gonna put this thing through its paces with a monochrome camera and get going on it. Everybody stay tuned. Okay, so let's do visual first. I've got the 70mm double stacked Coronado SolarMax 3 hydrogen alpha telescope. Both the etalons are attached. They have been tuned perfectly to reveal a beautiful chromosphere, prominences, active regions. It's all just wonderful looking. I've got it focused with the draw tube pulled out a little bit on the blocking filter. And let's take a look. Oh my God. Yeah, it is awesome. The tilt-tuned technology always presents a better visual image because it gives it somewhat of a lighting effect. You know, it's brighter here a little bit than over here. It makes it look very three-dimensional. This is the scope for outreach for solar. For visual use, you will not find a better telescope on the market. It's a beautiful full disc view, crisp red features, stark black background. It's just absolutely amazing. So I'm going to look again. Tuning the etalons is pretty easy. Just reach up and tune it until you like the view, until you get the best prominences. Man, you are in business with this telescope. Let me tell you, you cannot beat a tilt-tuned Coronado SolarMax scope for visual use. I'm using a point gray grasshopper camera, monochrome of course, and that's just simply inserted into the blocking filter. We'll get that out of the way for now so you can see the blocking filter. The blocking filter simply extends or goes back in all the way for back focus or in focus, depending on what you want to do with it. Very ingenious design, okay? And it's the same dependable Coronado blocking filter you've seen in the past. Wonderful piece of machinery. Of course, your focuser's here, and then the soul finder up here helps you find things. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so now we are in white light mode with this awesome SolarMax 3 from Coronado. I've removed the blocking filter and the external etalons and inserted a Meade 2-inch white light wedge or Herschel wedge. Very simple. It took about 2 minutes to do the whole thing. Actually, it took about 30 seconds to do the whole thing. So now we're going to do some imaging in white light with the Coronado SolarMax 3 70mm. Now I've got the scope configured to shoot some calcium K. As you can see, I put a calcium K module in the back of it, took off the external etalons, and it performs just like a standard doublet refractor. It's pretty awesome. There's no taking off the whole rear assembly, there's no tools required. You just slide out the blocking filter and unscrew the etalons and you have a nighttime scope or white light or calcium K. We're going to take some images in calcium K now. Okay, so let's talk about these etalons. This is the Coronado SolarMax 3 double stacked 70mm hydrogen alpha telescope. The etalons unscrew, and as you can see, they're all external, so when you take them off, you have a nighttime telescope if you'd like to use it for nebulas or planets or whatever. Or you can use it like I'm doing now with a white light wedge or a calcium K wedge, and have all three popular wavelengths available in one telescope with 10-second switchovers. These two external etalons have the rich view tuning system. Okay, so just like standard Etalons on the SolarMax 1 and 2, they have a tilting mechanism which comes with the scope. This is the first Etalon. This is the second Etalon, and the tilting mechanism for the second Etalon. And these Etalons were matched at the factory, and they are secured so that you can't rotate one Etalon with the other Etalon, because when you do that, it affects the image. In order to remove it and go to a single Etalon mode, you can use a set screw and loosen it and then take it off if you want to, but remember where it was, because that's where it should be when you're in double stack mode. So a single Etalon gives you about a 0.6, 0.7 angstrom view of the sun. It's a parabolic bandpass, about 0.7 angstroms wide. And when you add the second Etalon, it reduces that bandpass to about 0.5. And that gives you much more surface contrast and features on the surface, like filaments or active regions. With the single Etalon, you get a much brighter prominence on the edge of the sun, but you lose a lot of the detail on the surface. It gets a little more washed out. So both of them together is the way I like to go when there's features on the surface that I want to get, and single Etalon is the way I go when there's a large, beautiful prominence to photograph. These two Etalons are fantastically well built. Don't drop them. So we're going to put it all back together now, and well, I'll tell you what, let me show you the blocking filter one more time since I have it out. This is the BF15 blocking filter from Coronado, and of course it just slips into place, and we put the Etalons on this side and you have an H alpha scope. You pull it out to go to nighttime mode or white light or calcium K. And it's an awesome diagonal. It's got a T adapter built right into it, so you can just put your DSLR right on here and use that to image with. It also has a brass ring that secures your eyepieces, etc. It's a 15mm piece of glass inside. It is a fantastically well-designed piece of kit, heavy and sturdy and well-built. The Soul Ranger is the finder scope for the Coronado. It has a tiny pinhole in the front. It lets a little bit of light come through. And on the back, there's an opaque piece that allows you to see the sunlight. So you move it around until the sun is in the center of that opaque piece, and that tells you your scope is centered. It's very difficult to find the sun by looking down the barrel, especially if you wear eyeglasses. So people always wonder, well, why do you need a finder scope to find the sun? It's right there. Well, you need a finder scope to get it in the field of view. And this is Coronado's answer, the tried and tested Soul Ranger, which has been on their scopes since the beginning.